persons that staged the walkout from the National Assembly as a result of the call for impeachment of President Buhari, most persons from most senators from APC extraction also walked out with the PDP members because nobody is happy with the insecurity in this country. So that kind of comment, we ought to have presented the facts in a way that, yes, all of us, we understand the level of insecurity in this country is something, if I were him, is something that the president is on top of. In fact, the president has been working seriously hard to ensure that, in fact, you know, there is a way you present it to the Nigerians, not even directly attacking those that made genuine call at the National Assembly for things to be done right. No. It's unwarranted.
All right, thank you. If you're not joining us, this is the Open Air on a Sunday morning, last Sunday in the month of July, and I've been speaking with Barrister Victor Weke, and he is also here in the studio with Precious Perry, also political analyst in the studio here today. So we're moving over now to the fourth thing on our agenda, because our time is actually running fast now. Towards 2023, defection hits APC. Still on the defection matters, as 5,000 members defect to PDP in Cross River State. Now, the battle for the soul of Cross River State has continued to gather momentum, as about 5,000 All Progressive Congress APC members have defected to the People's Democratic Party in the Northern Senatorial District. Learned that the defectors include former APC wards and chapter officers, women leaders, leaders of Hausa community in Ogoja, Yala, Bekwara, Obani, Liku, and Obudu, as well as LP candidates in the last Ogoja, Yala federal constituency and aspirants in the last congresses. Receiving the defectors of TTC Field Igoli, Ogoja on Saturday, the Vice Chairman of PDP Northern Senatorial District, Chief Austin Edibe, lauded them for their courage to join the party at this nick of time. Some of the defectors expressed their readiness to work for PDP, saying, "We are back to our roots." Hold it there right now. We're back to our root, Perry. That's what they said, back to our roots. So they were coming from the PDP before, and they got to the APC. They find out that some of these things were not really coming for them. Still the issue of interest right now. With what they have said today, do you believe their defection at this point in time is actually called for? Because this actually 6 months to the election as we speak. So why defect to another party?
Well, it is obvious that we are still in the political transfer season. APC to PDP, PDP to ABGA to Labour Party, it will continue. As far as there has not been any legal check to these unnecessary and unwarranted transfers, it will still continue. It will still be part of our polity. But then, looking at Cross River State, Cross River has been a PDP state from 1999. Only recently, the incumbent governor moved to the All Progressive Congress with his supporters, perhaps also commissioners and members of the National and State Assembly, you know. And then going into 2023 election, it is also common knowledge that not everybody that moved with the governor were retained. You know, some persons were displaced, some didn't get their tickets to return. Perhaps those that have moved could be part of those that were not given tickets to return to their various positions, you know, come 2023 election. You know, perhaps there could be part of those that have moved, or maybe they've also estranged the politics or the policies of the government of the Cross River State, as headed by Professor Bernard Ede. They would have thought it's not progressive at this point. He might not also have met the expectations of the people, and so they're moving on to back to their roots, which is the PDP, like they've declared. Or perhaps maybe the candidates that were given tickets in their own wisdom are not those that would serve their interest. You know, there might be other reasons why these people have moved, but the reality is that there will be continuous movement from left, right, center. It is the season, you know, and then people are consolidating gains. People are also shedding bad blood from the party. Others are looking out to amass supporters. Perhaps some also are doing this calling fictitious figures just to portray before the world that they have a solid base, so they can use that for whatever litigations before or after the election. But whichever way, we wish those persons that have moved the best of luck. We're praying that come 2023 elections, that voting will be made via individual qualities and capacity, and not across party lines. So because 5,000 persons have moved, it doesn't equal 5,000 votes for a party. Individuals will be weighed, will be x-rayed, antecedents will be checked, the policies they are presenting will also be reviewed, and then votes will be casted. Well, I wish all of them well.
All right, Precious, thank you. Barrister Njoko, now we'll see the situation of things happening in Cross River State. First, we understand that the governor was formerly of the PDP, and now he's defected to the APC, and he's on the platform of the APC. Actually, you also contested. He wanted to aspire to be president of Nigeria. Yes, he had that aspiration on ground for him. My question is this: with this happening in the Cross River State, would you say the governor doesn't really have grip of the state?
Well, as my colleague here has said, defection is a normal thing at this political era. And you have to bear it in mind that there was APC, and APC had structure before Ben Ayade defected from PDP to APC. And it is normal that the former structure may not have been carried along by the governor and the new structure he established, because the politics in Nigeria has been that the sitting governor is always the leader of the party in any state. And now this man moved in to the APC from the PDP with his group, whom I think that he will make them, he will take the structure from those persons that were there before and transfer it to these new persons. And once that is done, there must be grievances. The people that were there will not be okay with that system. We are the people that we suffered for this party. You know, we did this, we did that. We were there when the party was formed. Now that the governor has entered, now nobody sees our effort again. This could be part of the reasons. And secondly, it has also been established for a long time that Cross River State is a PDP-controlled state. That is another factor. Secondly, thirdly, is you consider the performance of this governor, this incumbent governor of Cross River State. Has he performed well to admire followership from the people? Has he done what people equally expected him to do, to say, anywhere this man goes, that is where we'll go? Just like Elijah and Elisha. Elijah, because of his antecedents, Elijah, even at the point of dying, Elisha followed him. Elisha said, anywhere you are going, that is where we go, because he remembered what the man has done. Take it back to Cross River State. This man, has he performed well? Have he done what we expected of him to do? These are the factors one has to consider before you say the defection is right or wrong. I am not there to know, but these are the factors, I think, that may have propelled the people to take that necessary action at this point. I said necessary because they have reasons for it.
Thank you, Barrister Weke. Now, Precious, we know that this defection thing didn't really start now. Would you say we had a fair share of it in River State and also in some other states? And we also link it to the winning of the PDP in Osun State. Remember, Adeleke now is the governor-elect of Osun State. Well, people say that this is really, connected somehow, and the APC is losing out of the elections in 2023, starting from all these issues really taking place, defection issues taking place right now. How would you describe the situation for the APC?
Well, for it going into the 2023 election, one thing we should know is that people are now willing to vote for individuals and not cross-party lines, right? That should be established. And so people would assess the candidate based on the policy policies he had hinted that he would support. For example, if I'm a PDP candidate for assembly in River State, of course I will tell you I will promote or support the policies of the governor from my party, right? Should the policies of the governor I am supporting not be acceptable, of course it won't be so inspiring to have command the vote of the populace. For Osun State, I don't think President Buhari has done enough, to give his party that edge to have retained the seat, even if the person contesting was an incumbent. It shows you the people are willing to not retain what is not good. So for a season as ripe, for a political season as ripe as the one we're in now, defection is it's key. One, it gives any party that receives the number an advantage. Of course, we know politics is a game of numbers, right? So it gives the party the edge going into the election.
So you know that before they cut there, some people were already on ground. So what advantage does it really give them? And is it quite late for them to be going that route?
No, not everybody joins a political party for their immediate benefits. Not everybody joins politics. Like I have not benefited from any political party before, but I support policies of individuals well, I vote candidates that are from political parties, but I have not benefited. So perhaps people that have moved from one party to another, they've assessed whoever is flying the flag of the party. Perhaps the person is not trustworthy, or the person in the party, like he said, the leader of the party, which is Ayade might not have done so much to inspire the followership that has left. So he has not led us well. He is presenting someone to take over from him. We can't trust him. We can't trust the person. We don't see a future in this party, so we have to leave. And then they have left. It has given an advantage to the other party. But like we said, people are wiser now. They might have left the party, but if I see an assembly member in the party that has policies that is right for my people, I will vote for him, while I vote for the governorship candidate of another party. We are in that system. And then the introduction of the beavers machine has given credibility or sound backing to that line of thought.
Well, that's another issue to be discussed today, is defections. Actually, we have about 5,000 members that have really defected from the APC in Cross River State to the PDP. Now, one of the defectors and a former chairman or chapter treasurer of the APC, Obudu, Joseph Ajim, said they came back to PDP because of the love for Senator Jarigbe and to be part of the success story ahead of the 2023 elections. On his part, O'Shea James Ode, former APC Secretary Opai Ward in Bekwere, said, "We have worked for APC for 7 years and I got nothing. Neither was I empowered." Now, this is another issue he's raised. So you can see. So I decided to defect to the PDP where I can be given human treatment. You can see the issue he's raised now.
That is interest.
Barrister Victor.
Yes, that is interest. I told you it's all about interest. And there is another point they raised there. Because of the person flagging the flag of a PDP in that state. That is, I don't know the name you mentioned. Jarigbe. They say because of Senator Jarigbe, they may have known he's antecedent. They believe in him. They feel that with this man, things will be all right. That could be one of the factors. But the major factor this man has said is that he was not giving human treatment. His interests were not protected. And he feels that he needs to go to a place where he'll be carried along. And that is why I told you earlier that in politics, people consider their interests. Core politicians consider their interests. Just like my friend has said that there are people that vote, there are people that join politics without having an interest. But if you are a core politician, who has followers, who has boys you need to service, my brother, your interests will be paramount than any other thing. Because Those are boys that normally call you Oga. Oga, I have wedding somewhere, I want to marry. You need to give him cash. And if you don't occupy any position where the cash should be coming in, how do you take care of them? Or some of them will call you, Oga, my house rent has expired. And probably that person is not working or he cannot pay his rent. Being his boss, you need to look for the money and assist him. Give him money to pay his rent. Where do you get this money? That is the issue.
All right, let's see another statement here made by one of them who defected. It says, for John Brown Ubada from Yala, he said, I came over with about 300 APC members. We are returning to PDP to enable us work for PDP and reposition Yala local government area. Now another one says, for Dominic Ebi, a former Labour Party candidate for the last Yala Ogoja Federal Constituency by election, he said, I have returned to the PDP because it is a family that has a reward system. Well, that's another. The reward system is the major thing. Interest is the major thing right now. And would you also say, now, we know that people move from party to the other. Ben Ayade was in PDP. It left to the APC. Now, we have people also living from APC to the PDP also. Now, this is vice versa. So it's the same set of people. So why is there a need for you to really move on right now? Is it the individual representing the senatorial district involved, or the person flying the flag in the party, in the state involved, or what kind of indices would you say is some of the factors leading to their defection? They've mentioned some of them here. Some of them may be directly true because somehow they say politicians will find a reason to do what they're doing. Also, Perry, we're taking you on this now.
Well, the politics of Nigeria, there is no how will I put it? There is actually we don't play politics with principle here. We don't. So parties are not guided by any policy document that defines their government. Like we know in the U.S. we know the Republicans and the Democrats, they have very defined line of economic actions. One is pro-capitalist, one is pro-people, and all of that. For the politics in Nigeria, we don't have that. So anybody can give you reasons why he or she is defecting. Like one is saying the reward system is bad. What would Ayode say was the reason he left the PDP? That the reward system was bad. Is he not the chief executive of the state? So politicians would coin one thing or the other as the reason why they would want to leave or make a decision. But well, it is the season, like I have said earlier. So it is expected. It is not strange. People look out for opportunities. If it is favorable here, I will jump ship. This morning I had a thought. I had a conversation with him. I think, do party leaders take consideration of their followers before making decisions to leave the party? If I want to jump from APC to PDP, do I take into consideration after I have gotten my? Of course, there will be consideration for me to leave. Have I actually kept a place for my followers? Will they also benefit from this action? I feel largely it is not something that is obtainable. So, well, like you say, it is unit leaders now that are making this decision to return back to the PDP. Perhaps who they followed to go to the APC and also not, cater for their interests. So they are returning back. Let them go back to their home, as they call it.
All right, well, we'll see how things will unfold. This is the open air. Moving on right now with the final matter we have on ground to discuss, which is 2023 elections. Atiku charges PDP members to change strategy to win presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Atiku Abubakar has charged members of the party at all levels to change strategy in order to ensure the party wins the 2023 general elections. Atiku gave the charge at an event organized by a youth group, PDP New Generation, in Abuja yesterday. He says, today we said, as you know, our current electoral process is devolved to the polling unit. We don't need you groups in Abuja. We don't want even your state capital. We want you in your polling unit. Go and deliver it to us. Protect the votes and deliver it to us. Well, let's hold it there. Barrister, Barrister Victor Njoko.
Yes,
now, this is the statement by Elijah Tiko. What do you make of this? They should go to their polling units. Don't need you at the federal level or the national level, not state. Want you in your polling unit. That shows that the polling unit of every where the vote will be casted is paramount and most important in elections.
Yes, I agree with you. That advice is a righteous advice.
This is a righteous advice.
Righteous advice. That advice is perfect in all ramification. By virtue of the introduction of the by virtue of the new electoral act, it's no longer business as usual. Even these people that engages in thuggery during elections, I'm sorry that the new electoral act has thrown them off labor market, because that's 50,000 naira you used to earn during elections by hijacking the electoral buses and ballot papers to vote and stockpile the ballot boxes with the votes you printed, which you will subsequently return back to the electoral officers and force them at gunpoint to count and announce results. Those things are no longer there. Therefore, you won't be paid for doing those things again. They've actually lost their thread. So, the best advice to any party member, not even PDP, I wish other political parties or political party leaders should equally advise their own supporters, their members, to go home, to go to their polling units and ensure that they deliver votes from their respective polling units. Because by virtue of the new electoral act, you can no longer rig. It is no longer business as usual. That is why he told them to change strategy. Probably there are strategies that they used to adopt to win elections. There is no room.
Which was in time past. Which was in time past.
Yes, now there is no rooms for those strategies to be adopted. The beavers they've introduced, you know, before this time, this card reader was unknown to our electoral act, and that was the reason why some persons that actually disputed electoral results or contested it in court and relied on the card reader, their matter were thrown out, because according to the Supreme Court, that the card reader has no place in the electoral act. But with this new electoral act, the card reader has been captured. Now there is nothing like incident form, where after stockpiling the electoral buses, the ballot buses, then from A to Z, who were not in the polling units, who never participated, probably some of them were dead. What they do with the incident form is just to tick the names of those persons as having voted, whereas they were not there. Whereas the votes were emanating from talks, who printed the ballot papers. Now today, you must be captured by the card reader, and for you to be captured, you must be present there. You will thumbprint. If it fails, these are beavers. They will capture your facial, your face, to make sure that you are well accredited. Without passing through these processes, you win vote. So the issue, the areas where political parties were leveraging to rig election are no longer there. So you have to be in your polling unit. You have to convince people to vote for a candidate. Not only that, you must be there to protect the votes, to make sure that those votes are counted.
All right. Would you say that this strategy is the best the PDP can actually come up with if they want to win an election in 2023? Precious Perry.
It is the best strategy any politician as of today will adopt to win the election, because now, like he has rightly said, power has gone back to the people. The people are the polling units. They are not in one high-profile meetings in Abuja. Like he has told them, he does not want the group in Abuja, neither does he want them in their state capital. Everybody has a polling unit. Go back to your polling unit. But then, would you think, or do you think I would support any candidate whose effect has not been felt in my polling unit? As some people will say, ballot box would get to your community, but not development. So for communities that have not seen development, it will be very difficult. But well, in sane climes, it is a candidate that inspires strategy. What strategy has a presidential candidate of the PDP inspired? He has been in Dubai all this while. As is Dubai his new polling unit, well, there is 6 months of election. We'll find out.
All right, so yeah, there we have it. I'm afraid that time is fast spent. We are also coming around to the roundup of this particular issues being discussed today in the politics of Nigeria today. We set it up with several matters about Tinubu and the rest of the federal issues, and we saw situations whereby most of them really spoke out. Well, still on this matter, we understand that they had several speeches, one by Inyochayu, saying that they should also garner some more support and do what they're saying today. And it says we will not relent in the rescue efforts, because I am very confident that they may next year there will be a brand new team led by President Atiku Abubakar. Now, speaking in similar vein, the deputy governor candidate for Cross River State, Ima Amawe, called on Nigerians across board to shun decisive narratives. He enjoined political and religious leaders to join on the heels of the support they have to go with that has to do with communities and build bridges across divides. The youth also on their part said they are targeted at least 5 million votes for Atiku. Well, is this realizable, Barrister Barrister Joko?
Well, 5 million votes. It depends on how they worked or they are going to work. And it depends on the strategy they are adopting. Like this, my colleague has said that some persons will say polling booths will get to a community but no development. You know, this time, I know in the past, I know of some politicians that actually collaborated with INEC during the electioneering period to have the election results in their hands.
Okay.
Then they have the original result in their hand, and INEC officers work with either photocopy or the ones that are not the original copies.
Okay.
At the end of the day, results will be filled. But it's no longer there today. It needs field work.
Okay. Well, that's the last we could go, Perry. Thank you so much. I'd like to really thank Barrister Joko Victor Weke. Thank you for coming on the program today.
God bless you, sir.
All right. Perry Precious, a social commentator and a political analyst. I'd like to thank you also for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. You out there, my thanks and gratitude goes to you for staying with me all through. But if you did miss any segment of this, you can join us on all our social media handles. On Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram at Atlantic TV Network. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. I am Namdi Uzuku. God bless you. See you tomorrow. God willing.
But I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
Meet the people making the difference in our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic